pen names are about branding in this day and age. When I first used a pen name, my first pen name was Amanda Elliott, E-L-Y-O-T, and I chose it because I'm also an actress and my favorite play is Noel Coward's Private Lives, and the two main characters are Amanda and Elliott, E-L-Y-O-T, so that's what I did, and that was my little inside joke. And I'm also an Anglophile, and I write a lot of my historical fiction is set in England, and wanted a sort of British-sounding name. And I also I chose a pen name that was not way at the top of the alphabet, so that readers wouldn't have to look, at the very, very top shelf for I chose a pen name where there would be sort of, where their eyes would be, where most people's eyes would be on a shelf. They wouldn't have to look down near the W's, and they wouldn't have to look way up near the A's and B's. But I like the name Amanda Elliott. That was fun. But I was actually choosing to write in a different genre for a different publisher. And at first it wasn't my choice to use a pen name. I was writing contemporary women's fiction for HarperCollins under my own name, Leslie Carroll. And my agent and I had kind of a summit meeting with my editor and my publicist at HarperCollins. And my agent said, oh, by the way, Leslie she's gotten a contract from Random House to write historical fiction. And the first thing out of my HarperCollins editor's boss's mouth was, well, she's going to choose a pen name, isn't she? Because it's all about branding. The HarperCollins people did not want readers to think when they saw another Leslie Carroll title, not necessarily under a different publisher's name, but they didn't want readers to think to get confused between a novel set in contemporary New York City and a novel set in 1798 in England or 1804 in England or whatever they wanted. Actually, my first novel was called The Memoirs of Helen of Troy, written from Helen's point of view, which is obviously not English. But they didn't want any confusion between the contemporary books. They were branding me as the native New York City author who writes books about women that are struggling to balance career and family in contemporary New York City and what that means. And they didn't want any confusion when people went to the bookshelf between going, Memoirs of Helen of Troy, wait, I'm confused. So that's why, because of branding issues, they didn't want any confusion between a Leslie Carroll title and the type of books Leslie Carroll wrote versus the type of books Amanda Elliott wrote. And that's also the reason why I use the pen name Juliet Gray now to write my historical fiction. And the trilogy that's just begun now, Becoming Marie Antoinette, a historical fiction trilogy about the life of Marie Antoinette, which is also with Random House. And my historical nonfiction under the name Leslie Carroll is with Penguin, with New American Library, NAL. And I didn't want the confusion between writing nonfiction, which, you take it seriously and it's just the facts, ma'am, even though it might be nonfiction that goes down easily. The Chicago Tribune editor said that it was an irresistible combination of People magazine and the History Channel. That's the tone of my nonfiction, but it's heavily researched. And I still didn't want any brand confusion between the nonfiction and what is a novel.